Samson, judge of Israel, set to deliver the Israelites from the Philistines. We will see how the life of a man gifted with incredible strength plays out, with a significant vow that symbolizes a deeper purpose in his life and applications to my own walk with Christ. But first, let's see how it all goes down.
Oh my goodness, an angel of the Lord.
You have been barren and childless, but now you will bear a son. But he's going to have to be a Nazirite, so he will not be able to cut his hair. He can't drink, and he can't touch anything unclean. And this is the will of the Lord.
I've seen a Philistine woman in Timnah. Get her for me as my wife.
Isn't there someone here that you can marry? Do you have to go to the Philistines?
Yeah, too bad. She's the one for me. I have a riddle. If any of you can solve it, I'll give you a bunch of clothes.
Honey, lion, riddle.
If you wouldn't have plowed with my heifer, you wouldn't have solved my riddle.
So Samson's, got to give him some more clothes. So he goes to the men of Ashkelon, and he beats them and takes their clothes, to repay his debt. And, eventually his wife dies. So that's really tough for him. That kind of sucks. He gets super angry. So, he's just kind of like, the Philistines are surrounding him. He's like, wow, that's an interesting weapon right there. Yeah, let's pick that up. And, that'd be really interesting to kill a bunch of people with. So, he's just going to town, absolutely obliterating the Philistines, a couple thousand of them too. And, he goes to, Gaza, and he's just, looking for a wife. And oh, look at that. There's Delilah, who he finds to be very attractive and beautiful. So let's see what happens next. Oh my goodness, they're getting married. How nice. Wonder what she'll do.
Tell me, how'd you get so strong?
It's because of my beautiful flowing hair.
Hey yo, what's going on guys? Delilah back here with another banger of a video. Today I'm about to cut off my husband Samson's hair and we're gonna see if his strength goes away. All right, here we go right now. Oh guys, be quiet, he's sleeping. All right guys, I'm going up to his hair. All right, we're gonna see. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and the like button if you want to see more. And if you guys hit 10,000 likes, we'll do a part 2. All right, here goes nothing. Okay guys, since you hit 10,000 likes, here we are with part 2. So I have his hair. Now we're gonna go in here and we're gonna tell him the good news. Samson, the Philistines are here. Oh.
Where's my hair? Where's my strength?
It worked, guys.
So they gouge out his eyes, so he's blind now. That kind of sucks. So here you go. He asks God for strength one last time, and he pushes over the pillars and kills all the Philistines and himself. Samson's Nazirite vow has a lot of symbolism. First, with his hair. His hair represents God's power and strength, and when Delilah cuts it off, his strength leaves him. But his hair grows back, and as seen, when his hair grows back, he gets his strength one last time when he pushes over the pillars that kills all the Philistines. And it's perhaps also God wanted him to grow out his hair as a reminder for his purpose to rule over Israel as their judge. Secondly, he's not supposed to touch or eat anything unclean. Unclean things could be seen as a tangible marker of sin, and God does not want Samson to be unclean. Third, he's supposed to avoid fermented drinks, and he's holding Samson to this higher standard once again, and he also does not want him to get drunk and act unruly. And also perhaps this symbolizes God's desire for Samson to remain pure as an Israelite. Since wine comes from a vineyard, and vineyards are associated with fertility and sexual behavior, perhaps this represents how God wanted him to be pure. But it's interesting because Samson breaks all of these. When his hair is cut, he loses his strength. When he eats honey, he's unclean, and it represents how he stumbled into sin. And he also drank wine, which is also symbolic of his purity, which he ultimately breaks. And lastly, his eyes are symbolic. The very first thing that happens when he gets captured is his eyes are gouged out. And his eyes represent his lust, which ultimately leads him to marry Delilah, who cut off his hair and led to his capture. And it's ironic how his lust leads to his capture, and it's what's gouged out immediately when he's captured. When I look at the story of Samson and how it applies to my life, it just shows me how deadly the flesh can be. Samson's flesh led to his downfall, and since he gave in to his desires, it prevented him from being the great leader that he could be. And it shows me how I can't listen to my flesh because it doesn't know what's right, and it can ultimately lead me to stumble. Furthermore, Samson's sin leads to his failure, and it held him back from reaching his full potential as a judge of Israel. And it reminds me of how there are times in my life where my own sin has held me back from being used by God to the fullest. And when I look at my life, I may not have the superhuman strength like Samson, but I still have spiritual gifts that I can use for God's glory. And I want to use those gifts to the fullest. I see what happens with Samson when I ultimately don't use them to the fullest. But I can only use those gifts to the fullest if I do not listen to my flesh and my desire to sin. I can't let it hold me back from serving God and letting him use my gifts because I do not want to experience a downfall like Samson because of my own sin.